Hello, fellow students. My name is Logan Steele, and today I would like to teach you all how to plot a Poisson function with multiple lambdas in Excel. Now, the reason why I'd like to show you all how to plot this Poisson function inside Excel is that traditionally you would have to do approximately 20 to 50 calculations by hand on your calculator to plot this Poisson function graph. But inside Excel, you can just do one equation and then distribute it through all the other cells, and Excel will do all of the work for you, making it much, much faster and saving you time, which everybody likes that. And so we will first go over the format of how you should set up Excel, and then we will go into the equation editor and show you how to set up your equation editor for a Poisson function. And then lastly, we will use all that created data to generate a graph in which will be the final product. And that will be our main goal of this tutorial. And so let's get to it. All right, let's get started and fire up Excel. I'll be using 2007 version, but you guys can use 2010. Should work all the same. We'll be doing our tutorial off of homework number 4, problem number 4. You can see here it's asking us to plot the Poisson function for different values of lambda. So we'll be using these lambdas in our tutorial. Also, a little note, I know I'm probably saying Poisson wrong. I'm not French, so sorry. Anyways, let's get started and show you guys the format that you need to use in Excel to have the proper graph come out of plotting this. So what you want to do is you're going to want to have your y values. You can see right here we want the x-axis should be values of y. We're going to want that to be our first column here. And so for values of y, we're going to want to start at 0, and then we're going to want to go up to about 15 to 30 roughly, because if we do say a smaller value of y, 0 to 5, it probably won't show our skewness, which is the whole point of this. We want to get a graph that will depict the skew of our Poisson distribution function. So let's input some values of y, 0, 1, 2. Cool thing with Excel is that if you highlight both of these, you can drag down and it will count for you. Boom. There's 0 through 20. You will use 20 for our tutorial. And across the top, we're going to want to put our lambda functions, I guess you don't want to call it that, our lambdas. Simply insert the symbol lambda. I have it saved already. There we go. It's under Greek subset if you guys want to know where that's at. Close. We're going to input our lambdas across here, and for time's sake, I will revert to my complete Excel spreadsheet. I don't want you guys to watch me input a bunch of numbers and waste your time. So you can see here, here's our format, lambdas across the top, our y values on the first column. Let's go now into how to insert the equation. So let's start out with our equation in this first column. The way we're going to want to do this is start out with equals, and then a couple parentheses. Make sure to use adequate parentheses, otherwise your multiplication and division will get kind of screwed up. I'm going to pull up a document to reference the distribution equation real quick. This is in your notes, so for you guys doing this at home, you can go ahead and reference that from your notes. Also, a quick note, at this point I would normally check for understanding. However, because this is a video, it's kind of one-way street. I can't really get you guys feedback on whether you're keeping track with me. But the beautiful thing about a video is that if you're having trouble keeping up, you can always just rewind and then play it again. And hopefully, if you replay it a couple times, you'll begin to understand the steps we're taking. Also, if you're having trouble with plotting these Poisson functions, I would encourage all of you to do one yourself. So we'll start out with lambda, which is 1, and we're going to raise that to y. Click that. There's our cell A2. Close it off with parentheses. Next step, make sure to put the time symbol, which is Shift 8, If you don't do that, Excel won't recognize it as a equation, and it will pop up with all sorts of errors. So for e to the negative lambda, the way we do that is type exp and then put in our value of lambda, which in our case is 1. -1. There we go. Close that off. Also close off this top numerator of our equation. That way there's no confusion as to what is divided and what is multiplied. Now we'll divide that whole thing up top by our y factorial. And in Excel, we do factorial by simply typing fact and then putting in the number that we want to have be factorialed, I guess you could say. So in this case, it'll be our y value. There we go. Close it off, press enter, and now we have our equation all done. So there we go. There's how to insert the equation. One other little tip that I would add is when I do multiple columns with the same equation, I like to use good old copy and paste. So normally this wouldn't be filled in, and what you do is just copy that equation, paste it in, and then all we need to do is change our lambda values. Boom, press enter, it's done. In this case, we already have values there, but for you guys doing it at home, drag all the way down, and then it will apply that equation across all those variables. One thing I like to do is before I start dragging with my first equation, I'll go on my calculator and do it by hand just to make sure Excel is spitting out the right number. So now that we have our whole data set, let's create a graph. We're going to select all of our data, which the way I like to do it is select the top left cell, hold shift, and click the bottom right cell. That will highlight all of our data. And from here, let's insert a scatter plot. I like to do the scatter plot with smooth lines. It looks the cleanest. If you do a scatter with straight lines and these little markers, because we have so much data here, there'll be a bunch of little dots and it just looks kind of cluttered. So hit that, and out comes our beautiful Poisson distribution graph. And you can see from this graph that for different values of lambda, there will be a different skewness. And notice that as lambda increases from 1 to 10, the data becomes less right skewed. You see 1 being very right skewed, and then 10 being not so right skewed and a little more symmetric. And there we have it. That's our completed graph for the Poisson distribution. And then also practice on your own and make sure you get this down. It's a very useful tool to visually see what's going on with our Poisson distribution. Thank you all for watching my tutorial on how to plot a Poisson function inside Excel. I hope you come away with a couple little tips that you may not have known beforehand. I hope you also learned the correct format as well as how to apply the equation editor and also how to generate a graph inside Excel for a Poisson function. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you in class.